I'm back on the anti-Brown side of the street. I don't have the light near me, so this is going to be a little shadowy, which doesn't mean that this is a shadowy figure I'm talking to. So, sir, what's your first name?
Tyler.
Tyler, you have a sign that says, Scott Brown loves Wall Street. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, it's the thing is, Scott Brown is sort of cozied up with a few super PACs that are sort of backed by big money on Wall Street. That's a big concern for us. Unlike most of the crowd here, we're actually from the left, being slightly overshadowed by the group here that's supporting gun rights, but we're here for a different reason, and that's that we think Scott Brown cozies up a bit too much to big money, and there's a bit of evidence suggesting that he's backed a super PAC that's been unleashing negative ads against Gene Shaheen here in New Hampshire, and frankly, all in all, we just think that he ought to stay in his state, and despite the fact that he has a vacation home here and some history, that it's more realistic for him to stay in Massachusetts.
Now, let me ask the question I asked the Second Amendment people playing devil advocate here.
Sure.
I mean, if there's one thing that there's no shortage of in New Hampshire, it's people from Massachusetts who said, I just can't take it anymore and leaving. How is this different from that?
Well, I think it's a little bit different because he's not just your average everyday citizen coming up to New Hampshire for a nicer place to live or less taxes. I mean, he's a representative. He's represented Massachusetts for some time now, and though he hasn't announced it yet, it's fairly apparent that he is at least considering very strongly a run in New Hampshire.
Oh, he's running in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have pre-made signs that say "Run, Scott, run" if you're not running in New Hampshire. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and frankly, it's just it's a bit intrusive that he's coming into the state. A lot of people in New Hampshire are a bit xenophobic and not too keen on having someone from Mass come in. But to answer your question, how it's different, I guess because he's not a regular guy. He's not moving up to retire. He's moving up here to work.
All right, now, as a person from the left, obviously you're going to have to deal with Gene Shaheen and Obamacare and the like.
Sure.
If you had to run against Scott Brown or say Karen Testament or any of the other people on the right who'd be running, is there a preference in terms of who you would rather run against, or does one candidate worry you more than the other?
Well, I think Scott Brown has a certain strength about him. I mean, he does attract some moderate voters, those who might disagree with the guys here and who might want more gun control, things like that. But all in all, I can't say I have too strong of an opinion.
See, as a conservative, I would think that the left would welcome Brown simply because I think he would divide the New Hampshire GOP, and I think a lot of these people would stay home.
I mean, I think that's definitely a good point, but sometimes it's, I don't want to speak too candidly on the subject because, frankly, I don't have too strong of an opinion, and I don't want to overstep what I'm intending. But polarization on the other side is one thing, and often it's good for a political party. But other times you prefer a candidate not because they polarize your enemies, but because they satisfy your goals, rather than party politics.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Sure. Thank you.